Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to the videos. Another paid request, this time for Fan of Eli. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it, man. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, review, topic, reaction, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for One Ranger, which I had heard of this film and I had seen the trailer for it. And it's written by Jesse Johnson, which he hasn't always made films I've liked. Triple Threat I thought was disappointing with Tony Jaa and Scott Adkins and such, but I did like Avengement with Scott Adkins. I also enjoyed Accident Man. I think those are two of his best movies. He also did The Debt Collectors, the sequel. He might have done the first one. I didn't like that, but I did like the sequel quite a bit, which also had Scott Adkins. And this was interesting because you have Thomas Jane, who I'm a big fan of, from The Punisher, 2004. He's done a lot of other movies. I like Thomas Jane, liked him in Deep Blue Sea. Always like to see him do more work. He plays a Texas Ranger. He looks a bit like Nick Nolte in Extreme Prejudice. Granted, that's a much better movie than this. And while I did not mind the film, it was just so-so. I can see a lot of people being very disappointed in this, and it's between a review and a rant, and I don't know where my mind's going right now. I think Thomas Jane, some may be annoyed by his acting where he's very much a southern, talk like the old cowboy. Yeah. Some may be quickly annoyed by that. Granted, part of me is like, he's laying on thick, but I will say overall I did have fun with his performance. If you're annoyed and think he's over the top, I perfectly understand. Maybe I'm giving him more benefit of the doubt than I should, but overall, I did have fun with his performance. I did enjoy him. He's definitely the best part of the movie. Pretty much these four robbers in an ATV, they've killed some police officers. They got AT-47s. They are going through the desert while Thomas Jane's on a mission to bring in this drunk Native American. I know, it's like, of course. Really? You have a Native American that's drunk? Is that kind of stereotypical? A little bit. Just a little bit. But he gets a sniper and a rifle and shoots down the ATV. One leads to another. There's one guy, this IRA guy, who gets away, gets caught, and the government in Mexico doesn't want to deal with anybody but Thomas Jane and the people in the UK, including this lady, Dominique Tipper. They want Thomas Jane's help. Hey, can you bring him to us? And then we'll take it from here. Just people in Mexico only trust you. Because the people that have him, like, they know Thomas Jane and he's done something for them in the past. He accepts. Him and this other guy take him. During it, they get ambushed. His partner gets killed. He gets wounded. He takes some people out. They get away. And then he gets in contact with Dominique Tipper, and she goes, "We're going to bring you to the UK, and I want your help in getting this guy back." And the whole thing seems pretty far-fetched. Like, somehow this Texas Ranger gets into Mexico, okay, but then this person in the UK is going to bring him to the UK, and then this IRA is working with terrorists, and it's like, okay, well, again, it seems to be getting a bit convoluted. Now, there are some worthwhile bits in here. Thomas Jane, like I said, I enjoyed his performance. I did not mind Dominique Tipper. I did not mind her. I thought her and Thomas Jane worked rather well together. There's a couple action beats I did not mind, but I thought this film needed a lot more action, and the action that's there, I don't think is up to par with what Jesse Johnson has done. Not nearly. Not in The Debt Collectors 2, Avengement, Accident Man. I don't know if he needed Scott Atkins, or he felt he couldn't do this with Thomas Jane, or he just wanted to do more of this modern western, so he felt that wasn't needed. But it just, knowing what the director's capable of, it just did leave a bit of disappointment. And there are nice moments, but it just left me wanting a lot more. And it's one of those, if you see the trailer, you saw the entire movie. It really is. So, the get more into spoilers to explain. Like I said, the beginning is kind of weird that they do the stereotypical, oh, it's a Native American who's drunk and I gotta bring you in. You know, Thomas Jane's thick accent in this. Like I said, there's 4 robbers. I like the sniper rifle he has, and he takes these guys out. At least 2 of them. For some reason, there's a 3rd guy. Because the 4th guy, our main villain, and that actor's name is Dean Yeager. He's getting away. But the 3rd guy grabs the Native American guy. Thomas Jane puts his gun down. But for some reason, the guy doesn't shoot Thomas Jane. He just turns around and runs away. I don't know if his gun was empty, or if that was, I apologize for missing that. But I don't think they made it that clear. It's just, he's speaking, Thomas Jane puts the gun down, and instead of trying to fire or anything, he just turns and runs. And so Thomas Jane wounds him from behind. And Thomas Jane, like I said, I think this character has potential. Just needs a much better movie to utilize his character in. Like, after that, there's a bit where someone opens a door, like someone's knocking on the door. When it opens, he immediately punches the guy and breaks his nose. And you realize it's the FBI who's working with this British intelligence lady, played by Dominique Tipper, who mentions he's IRA, we want him, but again, people in Mexico won't deport him unless it's you doing it. So he does it, they get ambushed. Nice to see some fine Thomas Jane's character. He shoots like 2 people, gets wounded, but he crawls back, gets to safety while they get away. She goes to see him, and then I'm going to take you to the UK. Yes, I know there's all sorts of things. Jurisdiction. Why does she trust this guy wholeheartedly when there was an ambush and he was wounded and the guy got away anyway? On the flip side, it was kind of refreshing that in typical, it'd be, she thinks he's an idiot, or she thinks he's an idiot, he's a moron, he's a dumbass, you're just a cowboy Yoko, do you fuck animals for a living, go back and ride a steer. No, she's not condescending, she's not mean or rude or bitchy. I thought that was refreshing. She has almost like an immediate respect for him. Which I don't know if they established as well as they could have as to why she does, but she does, and I don't know, something about that was refreshing, and I like the 2 of them together in the movie. John Malkovich is in this film, and he gives one of his worst performances I've ever fucking seen in my life. I like John Malkovich. He's a good actor. Did he have a stroke during this movie? Or before this movie? He's talking like an automated... He's talking like one of those... Back to the day when the automated... Press 1. If you would like to leave a message, press 2. If... That's how he talks throughout the entire film. He seems fucking bored. Hey, this is John Malkovich. I am doing a review for Fan of Eli called One Ranger 2023. Again, I haven't seen John Malkovich in a while. Is this just how he is nowadays? Did he have a stroke? Did something else happen? Is he of bad health? He was awful in this movie. He was awful. Again, I can't think of a worse John Malkovich performance that I've seen. Wasn't he in one of the Transformer movies? And he did a better job in that. So that was just a shame. I would say, get a better performance out of him or get someone else. It was distracting. He's talking like an automated. And then one thing I did not like was that after that initial opening with the ATV and him shooting it down and shooting the two people, the few and far in between action scenes deal with the same guy that they're fighting. This guy named, what's it, Olade? I think it's Olade. This big, tough guy. Just he's the one who helped get the IRA, Dean Yater guy, out of there. And the two of them get to this place. And Thomas Jane, I liked his line. You should kill me when you had the chance, motherfucker. And they get into a little fight, but it's a little fight. It lasts like, I don't know, 40 seconds. It's not badly filmed. It's just much more of a brawl, and he's getting one or two punches in, but then the bad guy's getting more punches and hits in him, and he gets maybe one or two things, and they're both struggling. The lady comes in. The bad guy pushes Thomas Jane, and he gets away. Thomas Jane's shooting at him, but the guy still gets away. The second bit, they're at a bank, and the bad guys try to kill Thomas Jane, but the girl saves him. Now, this bit here was a bit weird, and Fan of Eli, if you're watching this, please, maybe you can explain this to me. There's a pistol on the ground. The director shows this bit where Thomas Jane slides on his knees to get the gun. But then, he's not shown doing anything with the gun. He slides and gets the gun. And then it cuts to these two guys shooting, the girl shooting back, and back to the two guys, and one gets hit and the other gets hit. Did Thomas Jane shoot one of them? Did he shoot both of them? The way they made it edit was that the girl shot both of them. If that's the case, why did you do this whole thing with Thomas Jane slow motion, getting this silencer pistol? Usually it would cut to, you would cut to Thomas Jane, he aims, poo, 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 poo. Jesse Johnson, you've done action films. You know how this works. This is like a very incompetent job in this scene. When I have to figure, who the fuck... Wait, if Thomas Jane shot him, we didn't see it. Wasn't established. It wasn't even established like him aiming. It's just, he grabs the gun. You use either like this or this. And then two guys shooting at the girl. Dominique Tipper shooting at them. And they get shot. It makes it seem by editing that she shot both of them. Because it never cuts back to Thomas Jane aiming and shooting. But I would assume maybe he did, because otherwise, why the fuck would you show a bit with him sliding on his knees and get the gun? I'm sitting there going, what the fuck is Jesse Johnson doing? Please, someone explain to me. So Thomas Jane thanks the girl for saving his life, bandages her, and again, Thomas Jane is trying. There's those on the run and those doing the hunting. Now you got the third, well, kind of the third or fourth bit that he meets this Old guy, but he's with other men. And Thomas Jane gets a little machine gun and shoots through the wall, kills a couple people. Gets to another fight with this guy. This is like the second fist fight he's gotten with this guy. And this is a little bit more choreographed. You know, he's throwing plates at him. There's a bit where he stabs a guy in the leg, and they're straddling. He puts his thumb in the guy's eyeball. And then it cuts to this bit where I thought this whole bit was confusing, and I don't know why it was in the movie. I just to try to find a way to give exposition transition of where we could find the bad guys for the finale of the film. Because Thomas Jane and the girl get away, blah blah blah. Then it's, oh, this guy is tied up to a bomb and he's going to blow himself up because I guess the IRA main bad guy says, if you don't do this, we'll kill your family. But then the lady goes in there with some bomb safety stuff on. And then fairly quickly he tells her information about a large glass building and all this stuff. But then she gets out and he blows up. I felt that was just added in there, like, we gotta find a way for him to find where the bad guys are at. Which made me go, sometimes I felt, why the fuck is Thomas Jane's character even here? Because you would think, okay, you don't bring him here into the UK, he's going to look up information where he's going to use his own Texas Ranger tactics to find clues, get information from people. He observes in a different way that other people might not observe as. He really didn't feel crucial to the investigation. He just felt like a tag along. I thought that was another mistake as well. So again, there are moments I do like. Thomas Jane's performance. Dominique Tipper she was fine. Like I said, I like the little fight that they had. Thomas Jane, the one guy where he thumbs the bad guy's eye, but then the guy gets away. I like the bit when they go into the building and he has the last final fight with that guy. It's definitely the best part of the movie. Just more of Thomas Jane getting hits in, and then the guy's using this hammer, but then Thomas Jane gets in using the hammer on that guy. Easily the best fight in the movie, the best part of the movie. But you're doing this build-up where you're in this big, tall building, and you both have machine guns. And okay, Thomas Jane finally fights this guy for the third or fourth final fucking time. Finally kills the guy, big old hammer to the head. Okay, there's all these bad guys up. They're going to get into the two of them taking these guys out one by one. No. The other cops shoot a bazooka, blow up the floor, kill pretty much everybody except the IRA guy who escapes, and that's it. So then Thomas Jane leaves the UK. Oh, they get in a standoff. Before that, actually. Even if you get away, I'll find you. You think IRA guy has grenades, but you find out it's smoke bombs. He gets away. Then Thomas Jane leaves the UK. Then, oh, by the way, we found him in Mexico. Then he's in Mexico. Shoots a couple people among some rocks. I'm sitting there going, wait a minute. You have this much more interesting backdrop of this tall building with all these, under construction rubbles and all these bad guys. You have this big old battle here within this building where maybe you gotta travel floor by floor, and we got 20 some minutes left, and they even say we have like 25 minutes. They say they have 20 minutes left. Okay, he's punching this guy, he hits this guy, boo boo boo. They work together, shooting, killing bad guys, then they split apart. She's getting the fights. She doesn't even get much fights. She hits one guy and knocks him out. That's all she does. So she doesn't even get much fights or battles, and neither does barely Thomas Jane. If you did one of those body count, like people do body counts in movies, all out of bubble gum and that, this would take like 30 seconds. And then he shoots a couple people in the desert among rocks. Yeah, again, like 4 guys hiding behind this boulder. Bop, bop, bop. I'm like, why the fuck weren't we doing this in the UK when you had the right setup for it, the perfect setup for it? Gets that rifle, snipers the IRA guy's laid, grabs him, takes him back. The movie's over. So I know Fan of Eli, because when he sent the request, he had a little message calling it underrated. I'm sorry, man. I don't think this is underrated. This is a disappointing effort. There are moments, I would say I more disliked it than liked it. It's a disappointing movie. It's not a full-on rant because I think Thomas Jane's character could work better in a better movie. Like I said, I like Dominique Tipper. She was not unlikable. She wasn't bitchy. They didn't go through the typical they hate each other and then they have to learn to like each other. They didn't go through that typical trope when 2 characters are put together. I appreciate that. Again, it seems from the get-go she has a respect for him. So that felt a bit refreshing. The guy who played the villain, Dean Yater, he was alright. I've seen better, I've seen worse. When the action is there, at times it's okay and comedy, but it felt a bit more mundane. Especially again, you watch some of the stuff in Avengement and Accident Man, and you're like, this is such a step down in terms of action. What happened? Did they run out of money? What was the deal? It definitely is no Extreme Prejudice with Nick Nolte, Walter Hill. Definitely not that. So, Tom and Jane, I give a thumbs up to. It has a couple little moments, but yeah, I found this rather disappointing, and I would never see it again. It gets a 4 points to the 9 to be. I can see why. It should have been more over the top. Should have been a lot more action. Should have been a lot more choreographed, longer set pieces like you would see in other Jesse Johnson films. Even as much as I don't like Universal Soldier Regeneration or Dare Reckoning, I can say those action scenes Dare Reckoning in particular are very well done. Dare Regeneration, I think of that bit where Van Damme, it's like Call of Duty and he's shooting and he's stabbing people. It's a pretty. I don't like the story of that movie. That's why I don't like it. I'm not a fan of the script, but some of the action pieces could be decent, well filmed. This should have been a lot better. Should have been a lot better. So, see if you're a hardcore Thomas Jane fan. Give it a watch, and maybe you'll like it more than me. But yeah, should have been a lot better. So disappointing. We'll see you later.